Rook F5. If they take the rook, we have bishop takes the knight. The best games are still yet to come. There's still some crazy ones here. So I'm feeling great. This is our PB. We're already at our highest ever bullet rating ever. And now we're going to play another game. We're playing black in this game. And we, of course, play E6. And now I was playing a lot of Frenches. Now I start playing a different system. Now I'm like, all right, I'm going to start trying to cheese people with the E6, B6 system. So they go knight F3, bishop B7. That's the idea of the opening. Both of us are actually playing kind of a similar setup, honestly. D5, I'm going to play the first pawn of the center. Opponent's going to play C4. I'm going to take that. We're going to give them some development. That's totally fine. Now we're going to play knight F6, queen C2, bishop B7. We're just going to castle. We have this covered. I decided to play H6 anyways. It's just a good move to prevent this from coming in. They bring their knight out. We play C5, trying to get some little central presence here. They move their knight here. Knight C6. If they take my knight, it's not a big deal. If they take, and now we're going to contest their very strong dark square bishop. I want to keep the light square bishops on the board because I like my light square bishop. I don't like their dark square bishop. H3 though, maybe they're thinking about G4. Maybe they will long castle. You know what? I go, okay, I'm going to take now. I'm going to take your knight now. You have to take with the bishop, and now I'm going to play bishop F6. And if you do take me, you're going to develop my queen. Now I put my rook to where this square, which is where I want the rook to be. They do take, and now I'm threatening their rook. Now they might have to commit to castling one way or another. Castle short. Okay, now they've committed. Now this is where I wanted the rook to go anyways. I wanted the queen to come out so the rook can go here. I'm not scared about any bishop H7 shenanigans. They move the rook to the open file. They might be threatening some B4 here with a lot of pressure on this square. Move my knight out of the way to prevent that. Prevents any shenanigans like this, and also hits this and defends my bishop. They still play B4. So we take, and they cannot take the knight because their queen is being hit. So they have to take our bishop back. They do take knight B3, hitting this and this. All right, so I spent a whole 6 seconds coming up with this because I wanted to find the right square to move my knight to. And now after rook up, we just take. It's a blunder though, because they take here and I didn't see this and I saw this immediately after I took this pawn in like 2 seconds. Yeah, I punted and I blundered. They took with their rook, so they took, and I'm down a piece. It's -3.5. The one silver lining this position is I'm up double their time. 38 seconds to their 20. So my plan now is to blitz out moves and hope for the best. Rook D8, queen slides back, pawn G5, knight goes up. I'm playing these moves very quickly. Opponent's down to 16 seconds. Queen E5, a very nice move here, centralizing the queen, attacking their knight. King slides up to G7, gonna get my piece a little more active, and we're just gonna trade rooks. If their queen gets in here, it's whatever. We're gonna try to attack some of these pawns. I don't know what we're gonna do yet, but maybe we should probably take this pawn. We're gonna go here, maybe try and attack somewhere along here. We probably shouldn't have allowed them to take this pawn. I don't know why I allowed that. Opponent's down to 11 seconds here. We're gonna try our best to get a W. Take their pawn. They move the queen up. We can take this pawn though. We can take this pawn because after the queen's trade, look at how close these pawns are to promoting. And this knight by itself will have a tough time stopping all three of these pawns. And our pawns are just going to march up the board. And their king and knight are going to have to waste precious time coming over here to try and stop these three pawns. And my opponent has 4.5 seconds to defend this position. A4 threatening B3. And opponents can move their king over. We're just going to keep marching. And how is opponent going to defend this? Knight C4, just now B5. And our moves are so easy. We just keep pushing whatever pawn is safe to push, we just push that pawn. Opponent has to play so carefully here. And we just win the knight. Opponent just blunders the knight. They have no time on the clock. They have 2.7 seconds. We take the knight, and in this position, we won on time. Up 3 pawns. These 3 pawns are unstoppable by this king. We played this game at a 79% accuracy and a performance rating of 1500. We're trying. We only have a couple more games to hit 1300, and this game was the best game we played in the climb. This is the highest accuracy I played. So if you got, this is unbelievable. We're going to play E6, E4, E6, and then we could play the French defense, but again, I'm mixing things up and we're now playing the E6, B6 system. We're trying this out. There's a lot of tricks you can do with E6, B6, especially in bullet that people aren't aware of. Knight comes out, we fianchetto our bishop, and now we attack this knight, which is a defender of this piece. Now the bishop does also defend this piece, but this is totally fine, but we have other ideas now. After bringing this bishop out, we have F5. The idea of F5 is if they take, we get to win this pawn and win the rook. Opponent does not take. They play queen e2. Queen e2 is a bit of an inaccuracy because now we take this pawn, hitting this bishop. This pawn has now been won. We're attacking their bishop. Bishop c4 is basically one of the only options, and we're just going to develop our pieces. Knight f6, totally fine. Knight f6 also prevents any queen checks from coming, and it also reinforces this pawn in the center even more. We have d5 on the way, coming very soon, and we're looking pretty good. They attack our bishop, but we trade. And look at this, a great move. It undermines their center control by taking away that knight, and we're just going to take complete control. We castle. Knight h3 from opponent because they cannot develop over here, desperately trying to castle with knight h3. d5 is next, the best possible move on the board, and opponent, I don't know if they mouse slipped, but opponent takes our pawn, we recapture, and they resign. We played the first 11 moves of this game. We blitzed this out. We played this in 12 seconds. We played 1 second per move. We played it at a 96% accuracy and a 2,000 performance rating. You can't make this stuff up. And we are officially at a rating of 1296 after this game. And to be honest, around this time, we got to the high eight, when we got to like the 1280s, 1290s, we were losing a bunch of games. We were going back and forth between 1280, 1290, 1280, 1270, 1280, 1290, 1270, 1280, 1270, 1285, 1275, 1297, 1292, 1294, and eventually we came across an opponent who we were finally able to get a super clutch game against, and it is the final game we need to break the rating of 1300, a final stance against our opponent where we play another e6, b6, bishop here, defending the pawn. This is not really as much of an idea anymore because after takes, the knight is in the way and the queen can recapture. So it's not as good to play f5 here. So we just develop our knight to e7 with the idea of bringing your knight to g6. We trade off the bishops because opponent wants to trade pieces for some reason. We both castle kingside, and the game is very standard. We play d5. They push. e5 is a position we're very familiar with because this resembles that of an advanced French. So usually you get c5 in these positions, which we immediately play to undermine the pawn structure in the center. They move their knight back to be able to recapture. Now this pawn is a little bit loose. We have one attacker on it. We can easily get multiple attackers on it and try to win it back if we'd like to. We go queen c7, adding another layer of attack to this pawn. They probably want to defend with the rook. They decide not to, and we just win a pawn. We have knight takes on e5, and then queen takes. So we just won a pawn, and I'm feeling pretty good in this position. I'm feeling pretty happy. Rook kicks the queen out. We just leave our king here to defend our king, bring our knight up. We're happy to trade more pieces because we're up a piece. We're happy to trade queens. Again, we'll put our bishop on the nice, very long, juicy diagonal. Opponent wants to trade, so I'm happy to move their rook to a more passive square, and now we're going to be the first to get to the open file. They will go here, but now that they play here, we can happily take, and this pawn is a weakness that their rook is going to have to forever stand behind and defend. Positions -2. We just need to find rook c4. Unfortunately, I do not find rook c4, and I play some other moves that are also pretty good, but I really need to get rook c4 in because once they get their king over here, they can actually trade off this weakness and have their king defending it, and that's exactly what they do. So we got a big trade here, but this position is anything but equal. Opponent's pawns are split and weak. Their king is very active, which kind of makes up for it, but we have a 4-on-3 over here. This pawn is very loose, and we're going to try to attack it. King b5, and here's where I make some inaccuracies. I play the very poor move king c7, which allows king a6, and king a6 would force my king perhaps to go to b8, and then I'm not so sure if I'm winning anymore. Fortunately, they don't play that, and they play a4, and now I play g5, giving them the opportunity to play this again, and they do, and I have to play king b8, but now things are a little bit different. I'm not sure why, but I think the engine calculated now that I made this move, I have some more initiative over here, and maybe I can get something. They move back. They don't know what else to do here, and look at the time. We're both under 30 seconds, so now I go f5. I needed to play king b7 here. The king cannot make any, the king can get into here. Oh, I messed up because I gave them king c6. Oh my God, the king can't get through here, but the king gets c6. I needed to go up so the king cannot infiltrate, and we allowed them to have this move, and that would have been completely crushing for white, but they missed that and play f3. So now we prevent the king from infiltrating. They can go king here again if they want to. They missed that. I play f4, g4, and it looks like we can't make any more progress here. If I push this pawn, they will take, and they're threatening to come up and win these pawns. If they go here, I can take, but what am I going to do? King b7, best move on the board. The reason king b7 is such a good move is because now opponent does not have any of these moves available to them, and no other moves are good. So by this move, I will simply happily trade this pawn off. So for example, if opponent does this, take, and now I can let them take this pawn if they want to. They have to take this pawn if they ever leave to try and defend these pawns. Like, I'll be able to win this pawn. If they're to leave this, I can push this pawn up, and they'll have to eventually come back to take it, and I will just win all their pawns. If opponent plays this, again, I'm going to get to play this. And they cannot even come over here to stop. They'll have to go back and up, and like they're gonna have to come around, and now I'm just completely crushing. I have 2 pawns here, a pawn here. These pawns are all frozen, so that does not work. If opponent plays a move like this, then now I will play a6 and kick them out. They cannot come up at all. My opponent plays h3 here, and now I find a6, forcing them back. And after they go back, now my king can slowly march up. And after they play a5, I can just push. And again, the king cannot come forward to any of these these squares, so the king's gonna have to leave. Now we can get in. Now we get e5, takes. Still, their king cannot move forward, so no matter where they go, they're gonna have to let us in somewhere. They're gonna have to let us in. So king slides up, and now, we're gonna get in and win something, and we're gonna win their pawn, and oh no, we're gonna make a queen. And not only that, we're gonna make a second queen, and oh my god, check, and mate, and the game is over, and we have officially hit 1300 elo. If you're watching this video on YouTube, thank you so much for checking it out. Hopefully you'll consider subscribing for more chess content, and check out this other chess video that you'll probably like. It'll appear on the screen, and it's great.